All right, everybody. Uh, I know I always come on to say faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God, but we are going in a different direction today. Um, and I have a special guest on today, which is my sister, and she's going to be talking with me. And but before we get to that, I want to give you some few updates on what's going on with One Nation, and so y'all stick around for that, and we will see you in about 30 seconds. All right, welcome to One Nation with your host, Christian Norfleet. And I know y'all are used to me coming on doing Bible studies, but since we are starting a new ministry, we actually are switching our ministry platform, pastoral platform, to our Tabernacle of Faith. And you can actually subscribe to that channel. We have a channel for that and a YouTube channel for that. So I would need you to go to Tabernacle of Faith. Matter of fact, let me see if I can bring that up on the screen. And I showed it also. I posted it on One Nation. So we're going to be actually doing a few live services from Tabernacle of Faith. That's the name of our new church, Tabernacle of Faith, Atlanta. Me and First Lady Tracy Norfleet. So you're going to hear more about that. But One Nation is going to be shifting back to more of an interview, talking like it was in the beginning, and we are going to be doing shifting that. But today I have a special guest, my sister, y'all, my blood sister. We grew up together, and I'm happy to have her on today. And she's going to be coming on. Today is her birthday. Now I'll let her tell her age because I'm not going to get in trouble, but she's going to tell her age. So she's going to be on today. So I think she's ready to go. Let me see if she's ready. Are you ready? Okay, let's bring her on. All right. Happy birthday, Simone. This is my sister, Simone McDavis. So let's tell everybody hello, all your friends and family and everybody.
Hi, friends and family. Today I am 41. I guess I've never really been ashamed or nothing about my age. I'm grateful to be here. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm happy to have you on. I mean, it's very exciting because I think this is the first time we actually done something like this. And so we're going to actually sit down and we're going to get to know who Simone is in her own way from her own perspective. And she's going to tell her story as it relates to her life. So, and she got a lot of things. I know me and my sister, we always have deep conversations, and and I love our conversations because they always seem to reflect our personal life. So I said I want to take a piece of that, those conversations we have, and I kind of want to expose it to the world and invite people in on our conversations that we have, our deep conversations. So with that being said, Simone, talk us through growing up in your life and things that your experience. Let's start there. Growing up.
Growing up, I grew up in a setting where I was the only girl. I was next to the youngest. We were pretty close in age. I just grew up with two of my brothers, and I have four brothers, but I grew up with my younger brother and my brother and the next in line in front of me. We grew up in Penn Hills, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Initially, for most of our upbringing that I can remember, but as a child, we kind of lived in a few different places closer to like McKeesport and in that area because our mother was from Clareton. So, and my mom, our mother, me and Christian's mother had 10 kids. She had five kids, four boys and a girl. And my grandmother had 10 kids, her and my grandfather together. So she came from a big family in Clareton. And my grandmother from the Hill District. And originally she had came from Tennessee, was born there. And, um, and then her parents moved here together to Pittsburgh. And then our dad, he was the only boy with another sister, and the my grandmother came from Czechoslovakia when she was younger and moved to West Virginia, and then was on the Hill District a little bit before she moved out to Cannonsburg.
No, it's funny you brought up our grandmother, which I just recently did a ancestry test because I was, there was some speculation of who our did not knowing who our father, not knowing who our father was. I found out 10% Russian. So, so when you said that Czechoslovakian, I'm like, okay, we get Russian in our family.
Right, right.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny. And so, with that growing up and, talking about our families and where they're from and things like that, I'm sure that the relationships that you had with them, what type of relationships did you have? Let's start with our father and your perspective.
With our dad, well, I remember him very vaguely when I was a little girl. We left so early, and then I remember him visiting us when we lived with Aunt Debbie and Uncle Rico for those. I lived there for 7 years, you for longer than me. And then our mom, when I was in the group home at 14, when I had ran away, she said, "Do you want to go live with your dad in Ohio?" And so
Hmm.
we weren't supposed to be, I wasn't supposed to be living with them, but I ran away and lived with my dad. And back then you didn't, you didn't, they didn't report that I was a runaway like in a school system. So I enrolled in another school, and he took me to school every day and gave me $5. Now this was a year that I lived in the town, and I was not the a best kid because I really didn't know how to be with the upbringing. I mean, he stole me a coat one time from the Gabriels and said, "Here's your winter coat." And,
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had to get you a coat, and but he gave me $5 every day for school, took me to school, picked me up. Now, what he did in his personal life, he asked me to stay out of his business, and I had my own phone in my room, and I was to kind of like go hang out with my friends or something, and stay out of his business. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, because yeah. Dad had quite a business, and we're not going to talk about it
We can
today.
talk about that one later. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, I think we lost her. Um, oh, I think I lost her. We're going to bring her back in a second. Let me call her and let her know. Yeah, we was having a good conversation there. Oh, a second. Let me call her. I'm trying. I have to bring her back on.
Right back on. Thank God, I forgot to put on the charger.
Oh, okay, okay. So
Are
I'll
you still in
entertain.
there? Can you just?
I'll
Are you
entertain.
still in there?
Yeah, I'll entertain. I'll entertain him until you come back
Okay,
on.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mhm. So she forgot to charge her. She forgot to charge her thing, y'all. So in the meantime, while she's getting that together, I want to encourage all of you that are in the Peachtree City area. If you are in the City area, to come down and visit me and my wife at the Tabernacle of Faith Atlanta. I want to invite you to come down and share the screen here. Here's the information. The information is 2100. The address is 2100 Georgia Highway 54, Suite 110, Peachtree City, Georgia 30269. The name of our church is Tabernacle of Faith Atlanta. As you see me and my wife's beautiful picture there, Pastor Christian and First Lady Tracy Norfleet, we would love to have you there starting March the 10th. Excuse me, at 10 a.m. Please come through. We love to have you. And also, I would encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Oh, let me get that off there. Okay, there we go. I think we got her back. All right, we got you back.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
me back. I'm just
all
gonna look
right.
at the can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. All right, good. We can hear you very well. Very well. Good. Okay, so I thought I lost you there for a second. We're back. All right, cool. All right, so let me see if I can get that back on. Okay, all right, so we're back. All right, so we were talking about uh we was just talking about our father and relationships and things of that nature. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we want to talk about you know, some of the struggles, early childhood struggles. What were some of the things um that you dealt with that have been traumatic in your life? And you navigated how you feel comfortable, but uh childhood traumas, what were some of your childhood traumas growing up?
Well, my first childhood trauma that I could remember was the pain was the sexual abuse at 3 years old, and everyone making a big deal. And I real more so remember having to go to the hospital and be examined by the doctors. Um, and then shortly after that, the next pain was of us leaving when we left mom's house and went
Yeah,
to
I remember that.
foster care.
That was Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And we were in the back of the foster care van or with the foster care people, and we were looking and seeing our mom being handcuffed. And I don't even think we were crying, but we were crying inside because it was so painful. Because I think after that point is when I really felt like, wow, pain is life. Pain is a part of life. That
That
was
was
in Yeah,
that was like your first introduction to real raw pain in your life, what you would say. Not
yeah.
just not just the physical pain of being sexually abused, but also the mental pain of losing our mother and not being able to be there, and then not knowing where you're going. Talk about that.
Right. Then not knowing where I was going. Yes. And then really just hurt. You just feel like you were sitting in some hurt. And that I felt I felt like I wasn't the only one sitting there. Um, but as a child, you really wanted to connect with love. And your mother is really the first one that you would want to connect with on that. Um, and so, with her, with even we went for visitations and her not showing up, it was a letdown. And I was kind of prepared that I prepared myself that she wouldn't be able to be there. And that's what I kind of, and then I was able to give her grace at a young age.
Wow. Wow, talk about that. Even at a young age, how did you come to understand that grace thing? Because that's powerful.
I believe I felt her pain. Um, some not like a degree where I could knew what she was actually going through, but the fact that something was hurting her, and I knew what hurt felt like. So I could give grace, but also have like I had a protective barrier over myself at that point because if she couldn't protect me, I knew that I had to protect myself in some way.
So that was already like a built-in mechanism. And now, and sometimes with those walls up, they become almost impenetrable because, like I said, when you experience pain like that early in your life, and that's all you understand and know, it's like all defenses are up at all times. So, with that being said, we left mom's house. The next place, talk about where you was taken to next.
After mom's house, I want to add myself back on the iPad if I can do that.
Sure, sure. Just leave that on and okay, there we go. Uh, okay, I'll remove that.
All right,
Okay,
good. After leaving mom's, I just remember being at the people's house. It was a new foster family. It wasn't my first foster family, and they were planning on, I guess, adopting me or something. And I didn't really know about the adoption part. I just knew that I was living with these people, and I remember a couple memories. The one was of uh, Oh, my cat's here.
Mhm.
The one memory was of me taking a bath, and I was in there all by myself. And I was just like, why am I in the bath by myself? Somebody should be in here with me, helping me. And I
Right.
said, no one cares about me. This is, and I was pissed off in my head as a like a 3, 4 year old little girl. I was so angry a little bit. And so then, and later on in life, I learned that they weren't able to because they teach you probably if kids have been through sexual trauma, not to interact with them too much with physical touch. As was I eventually learned probably was the reason. But
Wow.
the second strange behavior was the girl that was there. She kind of came on to me in an inappropriate way, and so I it was stimulating, but I didn't know what it was. And so it was off. And so and then so when I that was my experience there. That was my experience.
Oh, and so yeah, because I remember you was with a family. This is you're talking about the first family you went to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not even know that that had happened. That's the first time I've heard about that. So,
Yeah.
do you now? Do you remember their names or the have you ever reached out, contacted them?
No, I just remember that, I when I left them, they seemed nice to me, but as a child, I only remember those two memories with them, and all the time they were nice, really, really nice to me, and I was kind of irritated with them because I probably knew that it wasn't like the love of my mother, probably what I more so yearned for, even though I ran away from her in court. I remember as a little girl running away from her. But it just wasn't enough for me. The love I didn't feel was enough in that house that I lived in, and they were very nice to me. But when I left there, Uncle Sean came and got me, and that's where you were. You were there,
Yes.
and so when I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old, it came and got me, and then I gave him a hug, and I buried my face in his shoulder, and I wouldn't say goodbye to the people that were taking care of me. And now they remember the people's names, but I didn't remember their names. But I didn't really care. Something I probably felt was just like my uncle cares for me. I felt his love, and so at the time I felt his love, and I just wanted to be loved, and I just said, "Oh, forget those people." I kind of felt that maybe I knew they weren't really my biological family inside, deep inside.
Right. Right. And so, you transition from mother's house and then to a family that you did not know, and some things happened there, some new experiences happened there as well. So now you're dealing the first experience with mother with the sexual uh traumatic experience, sexual abuse, not with mother of course, but with somebody, came in, a stranger. And in the next situation you dealt with the family that had adopted you, and another sexual experience have happened. And so now we're transitioning to, our mother's brother, Uncle Sean, who took us in, and I was there already. And so with that experience, you felt like you had finally found your home. And how was your experience with growing up in his house?
I was happy you were there, and I kind of took out a lot of my anger on you. I remember as a kid, I was quite frustrated, but it might have been sibling thing because you were always so
Yeah.
happy, and I was just irritated. And I guess I was, everyone's kind of look spoiled me a little bit because of the things I had been through. Well, more so Uncle Sean, being there, just making sure I was okay transitioning. But
Yes.
it was okay there. But It was okay there. I actually had a lot of fun. I remember we lived right across from the Boys and Girls Club. We used to ride our bikes all the
Oh
time.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We used to go
Yeah.
to church, and we would shout. Remember, we would jump on the pew, jump and
Yeah.
shout.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We smile. I remember smiling a lot. Wearing nice clothes and just being really happy to be free. Play a lot. We get in trouble for actually doing bad stuff, and
Yeah.
it was fun. It was being a kid.
Right. So that, and I remember being there for that short amount of time, the experiences we had there, and being finally I remember being reconnected with my sister, because we for a brief moment I was staying at another family's house before we got back together. And so then after that, I remember we left Uncle Sean's house and we were transitioned to my mother's sister, Debbie, whose name's Debbie. We call her Aunt Debbie, and her husband. And so I know um I I know some things have happened. And like I said, I'm gonna let you talk about that if you feel comfortable.
Yes. So the transition from Uncle Sean's to Aunt Debbie's, it was like a day. Uncle Joe came and got us. There was a fight. We got in the car. Grandmother told us to get in the car with Uncle Joe. We went to Aunt Debbie's. As soon as we got there, I had a bad feeling in my stomach. I mean, it was just like on fire. I was really unsettled. I felt unsettled, and I felt afraid. And so that's when it began. We were instructed, yes sir, no sir, or yes ma'am, no ma'am. I mean, that wasn't really the big deal. It was more so with the the sexual fondling and the a lot of inappropriateness of an adult person that was in the military, and in the church, a preacher in the church, a minister, and a woman in the church. It was we went to church like 7 days a week, I would say. And we were in this house that we had clean clothes and food, and I would much rather have lived at school or lived on the school bus. And I just remember just having such a better life at school. And on the way home, I would be physically ill in my stomach, and I wouldn't. By the time I got home, I wouldn't want to eat. I would often throw up, as you remember. I was so
Yeah,
afraid,
yeah, I
and
remember that.
it was like living in a war zone once you got home. The energies were really toxic for us, and
Yeah,
I just remember not wanting to be there, and feeling helpless, and but glad that you guys were there. Just not really knowing that I could ever be free, and then really just well, with the beatings and the for the a lot of beatings, and
yeah, yeah,
the jealousy of her husband, thinking that her husband wanted to be with me, and knowing probably that he may have been inappropriate with me already, and then just taking it out on me with the abuse that I remember getting punched in the eye in third grade. And remember Miss what was her name, Miss
Miss
Rogers or
Miss Neighbors, I think it
Miss
was.
Neighbors. Miss Neighbors.
Yeah, I remember her. Yeah,
She was supposed to be really strict, really strict teacher, and you had her in kindergarten, I think, or
I
did
had
you?
her in third grade.
That's right. And
Third
then when
grade.
I got to third grade, I had her. And, I was a pretty good kid. I was a good kid. I was
Yeah,
really
you
good.
you made good grades. I remember you was just really smart.
Took a lot of the pain that I had to heal was by staying engaged in my schoolwork, because it was an outlet for me, a
Wow.
healthy one, very healthy one.
Yeah, and you did, and I remember you used to make honor roll. You played sports. You was very athletic, so you was very involved. And I think it was like you said, it was an outlet for you. And so at some point in time, you don't realize what people are dealing with, even living under the same roof. I didn't realize externally you was. I seen some of the things that you were dealing with, but I didn't know how much. Uh, Pain you were dealing with internally, because a lot of things I didn't find out until later, because back then people hid stuff and you didn't know stuff. So, I didn't know the extent of what you were dealing with, even some of the things that you just told me today I did not know about. And it's like, wow, so you were dealing with so much. And like you said, there was nobody you can talk to about it. You didn't have an outlet. You didn't have a mother or father there to, hey, mom, protect me, father, protect me. So now the only people, and I feel like you said, that could protect you was your brothers. But then being your older brother, I didn't even know how to do that, because I didn't know how to respond to what you were dealing with. So getting to the point now, we walked through your younger days. Now we're going into your teenage years, and something that happened where, what I mean, you got fed up. And tell us about that. What happened when you got to that point?
Well, I was about 14 years old. I believe it was like in the fall. And I was just, my body was just like resisting the abuse. Like I hadn't, maybe gotten beaten like 3 months, but you always feel like it's getting ready to come again. And it could be for anything. So I said, I started breaking down. I never really used to cry. And all of a sudden at school, um, I was told when I got home I was going to get beat for something again, and I couldn't take it. I cried to my schoolmates. I never told anybody at school what had been going on with me. Um,
Wow.
I was really strong, and but my body was like, you can't hold this anymore. It hurts. I didn't go into detail with anybody, but my one of my friends said, you can come stay with me. I said, I can't go home. I can't go home. I wouldn't even tell her why. I just said, I just don't. Can I just come stay with you? And I stayed with a group of girls that were twins, that were my friends, and I stayed with them. I ran away, and then I was there for maybe 3 days. Her parents were a little suspicious, but they still let me stay. And Uncle Sean, I told them, finally called somebody and told them where I was, and they said, well, you don't want to go to Schumann, do you? You have to go turn yourself in. And I was crying, so I'm like, oh, Schumann, I don't know, I don't want to get in trouble. And so I called, and the foster people came and, or the CYF came and got me, and were talking to me at the office. And they said, well, what's going on? And I said, well, she wants to beat me again, and it's just too much. I can't take the beatings. And and I didn't tell her about the abuse, with my own, with the uncle. And she said, well, you're probably going to have to go back to the house, because back then the kids had to be like on fire,
Yeah.
light your kids on fire for
Yeah.
them to, for the CEO have to take them away.
Right.
And so I told her more about things that had been happening in specific, and then she was just like, well, we'll just wait till we get there and we'll see. And I'm thinking, like, lady, either way, I didn't tell her this, but in my mind, I'm in trauma mode. I'm like, you're trying to put me back into a place like where an alligator might bite me or something. I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, I'm not speaking, I'm not trusting her completely either at this point. So I'm like, so I had to get in the car with her, go back to the house. And that's when they had that talk. And at the time, I really didn't know. I just was like concerned about myself too, and my own mental health. And that, and you guys were still there. You guys end up staying, you and Michael. And at the thing, Michael had ran away already a couple times and lived in the woods. You
Yes, he
know,
did. I remember that. Yeah.
so so it was rough. And so I was 14. I was becoming a teenager. I didn't even have a period yet because my body was so stressed out. And so they said, you don't have to go back there and stay. And I was grateful for that. I actually, at the group home, the girls were, oh, we'll get into that. Well, I don't know.
Oh yeah. We're trying. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
I'll stay on track.
No, that's good. No, however you want to, get into it. So you finally had the you built up enough courage to run away. You said enough's enough. I can't do it this no more. To reject, the pain and it was just overwhelming. And I remember that time because I had no idea what was going on. I actually got upset with them, like, why'd you leave? But I didn't, once again, I didn't know the extent of the pain you were dealing with and how much you were carrying. Me personal can only take but so much. But now, hearing it from this perspective, it gives me a better understanding and a greater appreciation of what you dealt with, but how you overcome it, how you overcame it. So walking through after you left your, you left that situation, and now you're out there. What happened? Because from that time of point, I didn't know where you at, what was going on. What I mean? And I don't want to get. I'm trying to, I don't want to get into too much of it, but what was going on with you during that time you left? You're out there. Where are you at now to walk us through that?
So I go to my first group home, with other girls. I'm still a virgin, but what, like, that happened to me as a little girl, but I was, still basically a virgin. And so, I thought that in my mind, I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go to this place and just never have to worry about that type of life again. Like, I'm not there. I got out of it. I'm free. So I'm like, I'm just going to focus on where I am today. And we had rules there. We had to clean up, do stuff, and the girls were kind of moody, so I tried to stay away from them a little more. So I got into sports and stuff at school,
Yeah.
um, basketball and track, and then one of the girls there, I befriended, she was really nice and very pretty, and a lot of the other girls didn't like her. So I'm like, well, that's my friend. And later in life, me and her lived together for some years. But um, yeah, I met her there, and she was the nicest person there. And one day she left. She left. She broke a mirror and was just so upset. And they took her away, um, and then I was there by myself, and so I still was going to school, and I was heavily involved in my activities there at Peabody. And I when she left, there was rumors that I was going to have to eventually. They were trying to reconnect me back to the house, and so
Wow.
I met this. Well, I think maybe a little before that, I met this boy. He was really nice. He said he was a virgin. I kind of believed him. He seemed really, really nice. So he lived around the corner from me. Thanks, sis. Happy birthday. Sis, say happy birthday to me. Thank you, sis. But yeah, I ended up being with him, losing my virginity intentionally. I said, okay, I'm gonna lose my virginity to this boy. And my only reason for losing my virginity was because I didn't want like a monster to take my virginity, or like it to be a really bad experience for me. So
Sure.
I picked a person that was very nice and kind hearted to me, and he lived right around the corner. Actually, I would run away for a few days and go live with him and his family, which he was living with someone that was considered he called her his aunt. But I didn't find out till some years ago that was really his best friend's mom.
Oh wow.
So, I lived there too, and I called her, I can't remember her name, but I called her auntie, and they were, very kind to me, let me eat there and stuff.
Wow. So you found it was like you found another family outside of the original family that you had. So while all this is going on, um, what was going on with you mentally, in your mind? How did you feel?
Well, I felt like I just want to have a family with this guy. Maybe I'll get pregnant and I can just like have a great life.
Sure.
I didn't know how everything else was going to happen, but then those were my dreams. I was dreaming that it didn't happen. And then I finally started having periods, which I didn't really know about the whole period thing and cycles, but I was glad to have them and they weren't painful at that time. It was peaceful. But uh yeah, so I'm just living my life, and then I was told I have to reunite back with them to reconnect because the plan's always for you to, that's their job to try to get you back at the house
Wow. So I
if
didn't
it's
know.
a
So,
houseable situation, right?
and so how did you feel about that? You already said in your mind, I'm not going back
I
there.
felt that I didn't. I was mistrusting of them at this point that they were going to try to take me there. So I started running. I said, well, you might as well just run away then. And
Mm.
I started giving up, losing a little bit of hope. My school was my outlet, but it was like I was discouraged, and I was started being promiscuous. I mean, the guy was a nice guy. I did sleep with other guys. I was just like, well, forget it. For whatever. I don't even. I was just like, I don't even care. I mean, I care, but I'm not going back there. And so I didn't know what to do. I even start running away, and I was in really dangerous situations. I mean, I didn't have a dangerous situation, but it could have been a dangerous situation. I was in a situation it wasn't. I shouldn't be in for a 14, 15-year-old girl.
Absolutely.
So,
So
yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, that was it. And then
So
eventually that's how I got with that. But yeah.
so that seems to be like in a situation another turning point in your life where you experienced you started experiencing some bit of normalcy at one point, but they were when they tried to bring you back to the place where you were running from, you said, well, hey, I can't go back there. I need to run. I need to go. So the next turning point, the transition in your life, you find yourself in a situation where you're ready to, you run again. So where does this take you? Right now you're in the what do you call it? The juvenile
A group
uh
home,
the group
girls
home,
home.
girls home. So they're talking about trying to take you back. You don't want to go back. So what's the next decision that you take?
Well, I didn't, I was just, not knowing what to do. And then mom suggested I go live with dad in Ohio. Um, and she said, "Do you want to go live with your dad?" I didn't even see the guys since met the guy since I was since we moved to Aunt Debbie's. He came that one time, and so I said, "Yeah," because I trusted her at this point. It was like really her only lifeline. She was able really to get me away from there, and she definitely understood how I was feeling. So I ran away, and well, I knew that's the only reason I could get away, because there's no way the courts were gonna say, yeah, sure, you can go live with these people.
You're right.
So I got in the car. They picked me up in the Cadillac with one of the women he was with in the front, and drove the hour drive to Steubenville, Ohio.
Now, I'm going to say this. Our dad, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. Our father was a pimp. I'm going to just say, I'm going to put it out there. He was one of those type that you would see in the movies. That's what type of he was. Him and my mother, they were into that lifestyle, but they're both passed away now. God rest their soul. But we had to tell it like it is. We being real on here. But now you're going to our father's house, and I just found, like I said, I just found out recently he is my father. So that's kind of crazy. So tell me what that situation was like, being around our father. I'm sure you got some stories if you feel comfortable telling them.
Well, the first experience being around him, I didn't know him. I was just like, oh, hey, and then, but he was, he seemed really nice, but at the same time, I felt like don't push it with him. So I was like, okay, he's cool, but just don't push it, I guess. And we were cool, and uh, he sometimes when he had his talks with you, he would just have these talks. Sometimes I would be like already, like it would be early in the morning, and he come and have a conversation. I'm like, I'm sleeping, and he's talking. He's still talking. Well, yes, Simone. Well, you got to make sure that you take good care of yourself, or whatever he would be saying, something positive. And he had his Bible. Sometimes he would talk a little bit about the Bible with me, and I did
Oh,
feel
I
like
didn't know that.
uh, he uh, I think he studied to maybe be a minister while he was in um, jail, or it might have been prison. Um, but yeah, and I believe mom probably also brought him to God, because even in their lifestyle, she definitely more pulled him in that path, because mom, that's how we were. Grandmother grew up, reading the Bible and teaching the kids about the Bible, and mom really embraced that. And usually, who she was with, you're gonna have to embrace it too, because
Oh
that's the area
yeah, yeah.
you're from.
She went hard to paint. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, Christian shares like revelation about the Bible, and she was really strong with her faith. And no matter where she was, she understood her assignment, and that's
Oh,
why
that's
God had
good.
some grace on her with, she kept love in her heart, no matter where she was in life. If they were abuse and drugs or anything like that. And he was a community person. Like there was a lot of people from the community that would come and play chess with him, the local drug dealers and his buddies down the street. So I remember he stole my stereo out my room and stuff. Or the girl that he took some of my clothes. You know what I mean? Stole some of my clothes, and I came home, she was wearing them. I'm thinking, like, what is this? What kind of place is this? Where they take your stereo from you, or take your belongings out your room, and but then they still love you. They still get you some food and stuff like that, and you just kind of like grow up with um, a different point of view. Like, okay, these people aren't completely well, and what is well? And that's when you figure out, like, what is well. You
Right,
question what is
right.
well. And I think I started questioning a lot of things in my life, and I didn't understand, and I did turn to mischievous behaviors of just acting out and hanging out with a lot of the Steubenville, Ohio was a place where a lot of people were on drugs, drug addicts, or the house I lived in, there was a lot of drug addicts in the house, even mom and dad's house. Um, so I didn't experience any sexual abuse there in a way, but I was being promiscuous out, in the neighborhood, and different things, and not really understanding how to love myself, but or what even everything was all about. Growing
Right.
up, seeing that so freely, and as I got even with him drinking, he did drink a lot, and one day he did tell me he was sick, and said that he was dying, and
Wow.
and and then maybe a couple years after that he did die.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, him and mom died in the same week, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. So you touched upon something. You walked right into it. You say you were dealing with in a situation with drugs and promiscuity and things like that. And I remember at the point I really didn't have much contact with you. I didn't know, I was living my life. We was pretty much grown at this point. But I wanted to ask you, what was the place where you felt like in your life where you hit rock bottom? What was your rock bottom moment? Everybody in your life has a rock bottom moment, and they need to like, man, I need to change. I need to make some changes in my life. What was that point in your life where you hit?
um I hit rock bottom. I want to say, well, literally I was 15, lived with mom for a year, or lived with dad for a year, then 16, lived with mom for a year. I just felt like I was hitting rock bottom all the time. Like
Wow.
it was like hit the bottom, and then like by the time I turned 17 years old, and well, before mom passed, I'd hit rock bottom, and but it wasn't rock bottom enough for God, for the Most High. I had to get a little bit deeper, and that's when God
Wow.
took them. But I had hit rock bottom where I was just like, I went to Job Corps. I enrolled myself in Job Corps. I was 16 years old in Job Corps. I took my GED at 16, and went to Job Corps, and I told myself I'm going to, try to be something in life, try to do something with my life. And then it wasn't really good for me because I had a bad relationship with a guy who I mean, of course, I thought that was my rock bottom, but a lot of the rock bottoms were points of entry into me changing my mindset from the pain that had been put on me. I had to get over
Mm.
completely go through very painful life lessons. Physically, there were a lot.
Ah, lost her again. Man, we's doing good. We lost. I think her battery went out. Let's hold out for a second, see if we can get her back on. We'll wait till she comes back on. Hey y'all, so while we're waiting for her to get her oh, here she comes. Okay.
Sorry, the thing died again. That's right. I got my phone, but
That's okay.
when I say physical attacks, I mean, the guy that I had been dealing with, he, because I wasn't really easy to, I mean, I did have promiscuity, but I wasn't really interested in settling down with anybody.
Right.
Naturally, it wasn't in my nature really to be in a relationship with somebody. I didn't really understand the value of being in a relationship with another person. Of course, because I was more like a kid, kind of still. And I just thought it was a game, or I don't know, just have fun and go home. But he was persistent about being in a relationship with me, and that's where the different abuses came with him. And it was in the beginning, and then you know how I am, I'm very well tit for tat. So I'm like, well, I'm going to stay, but I'm going to like throw his CDs out of the car, or I'm going to be mean. And so that was another rock bottom point for me. And that took kind of years. I was in rock bottom with him for years and kind of climb out of that with getting my self dignity and self respect back. First, through him, I felt I had to do that, establish some boundaries. And it helped me I stayed in that situation because my expectations, if I was to be with someone, were really high and not realistic.
So I'm like, well, I'm not even mature enough to really know what I want and get out of this relationship and successfully go into a successful relationship because I don't even know what that is. So I said, don't move anywhere. I was in some mess. I said, don't move because you don't want to go get in more mess. So I said, we're going to deal with this mess and get your dignity back and build you up from here. That's what I told myself. And I did. I started from that point of, mom passing away, being in a crappy relationship with that guy and moving forward. By the time I turned 17, 18, I didn't have a desire to hang out in the streets with the people anymore. And actually people thought, even my friends from Ohio was like, man, you've changed, but I did grow up with a lot of girls too, in Penn Hills that were a lot different because they had a lot of family support. So but I didn't feel like I completely fitted back in with my people there. And I didn't feel fit in completely with the people that were choosing that different lifestyle than me. So I said, well, you just got to fit in right here and you just have to grow from here. And so it was a lonely process too, because I didn't have the mother and father or the bonds of my friendship because they were all focused on other things. I'm focused on trying to survive mentally and just all the pain I'd been through. So I didn't deal with my pain. I had people coming to live with me as far as friends and family that were hurting. And at the time I wasn't strong enough to completely help them heal, but I did help in some way. And as I got on my journey with school and college, I was able to heal from my pain, but I don't want to go ahead of you.
No, you're fine. You're good. Because so from a period of time, you're perfect. So from a period of time, like from, that 17 to, let's say, your early 20s, let's say you were in a period of rock bottomness. It was like it was just, that's where you lived at. And it was a place where you were mentally, physically, in every way. And the thing is, you were smart enough to figure it out. A lot of people they get stuck there. But you found a way to get out. You say, you know what, I need to get out of this. I need to better myself. I need to make some changes. And that's what I heard. I heard that you were making necessary changes to make you a better person. So when them changes came, what were the type of changes that you had to make necessarily personal for you? Like, talk me through that.
Changes I had to make were more so getting a grip on reality of what it is to be in the real world. I got on, I asserted myself in the community to find resources to help myself. Learned how to get around on the bus. Um, you know, I had noticed that strangers, I call them strangers, but they were God sent people um, that would guide me. They were like guides. And then I would never see these people again, whether it be someone would tell me, maybe you should go to school here. And then I would go. I went to school there. And then saying, well, you're really, really special, Simone. There's something about you you're really good at this. And you should really try a little bit to assert yourself a little bit higher than what you are. Try for something a little bit more challenging could bring you more success. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna try that. I had the drive. I was already driving to figure out my way. I would make a list. And I would get by myself and be by myself and make a list of things, plans I wanted to do. I want to do this. Maybe I want to do that. I would throw it away and start over again. And I would do that for hours on some weeks.
Wow.
And so I would get a little bit lonesome because I was times like after I make that whole plan, I say, oh, maybe that's not going to work. That's going to take forever. I had a plan. I work at McDonald's till I was 30. And now
Hey, it's a plan though.
but what got me through it is love, faith, and protecting healthy boundaries really got me through it. Being
So
by
it's
my
like
yeah.
so it's like God sent you like angels unaware. Bible talks about that. We entertain angels unaware. It was like God sent you people to replace the people who were supposed to be there. By you be losing our mother and losing our father, not having that family support system. So God took, grace, that grace you were talking about earlier, and pity, and say, I'm gonna take her up. The Bible says, when my mother and father forsake me, he takes me up. And so, this leads me to my next question here. We're going to shift into the healing part of your journey, and healing and forgiveness. Who are the people who you had to forgive, and how did you do it?
Um, it took, so forgiving, with the pain that I had been inflicted with, different types of pain throughout my life and hurt, there was some pain there I didn't even know was there. Um,
Wow.
and wasn't able really to unpack it at that age because it was so raw. I just had to keep going to get to a safe destination to actually unpack. So I had to keep traveling, keep moving, but I kept love in my heart. And I did keep forgiveness, but I had to work on the healthy boundaries as well. But what really got me through it was just taking out, I was a nurse, I had got my master's degree. That really helped me to heal too, becoming,
Yeah, I,
yeah.
I remember that. I was there for that. Congratulations. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to get to that. But go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that helped me to heal, being a nurse, because it taught me discipline and it taught me how you are supposed to care for another person. We learned about therapeutic communication with others. Um, it was I was a nurse for 12 years, and I retired a couple years ago, but um, I really enjoyed caring for other people. That really helped me to heal a lot.
Wow.
Helping others and doing the best I could do. I went to the top and got my master's, became a certified case manager. So I was responsible for taking care of people in different cases and scenarios. So, but for me to heal, it was like God did bring me more people in life to help me heal in different relationships. Um, and my healing a lot, I'm 41 now, but my healing more came in the last few years. Probably about whenever I had that pain episode and stopped working as a nurse. There was some deep, deep pain, I had to deal with within my body, that came from my uterus, and I had to heal that because literally diseases and different things like that can stem from something that's happening on a physical level.
Hmm.
So my healing really came from listening to the Most High, to God, Yahweh, whatever you want to call, listening by quieting my voice and, you know, opening up to learning. So I learned about different medicines and remedies, and even like the gut analysis thing. Because if you're going through pain like that, how can you really heal from stuff on a more deeper level physically? So I started talking to a therapist, and most importantly, taking that time to be alone and talking to God about the things that I really wanted. And this time, instead of like making my own list, just maybe based on all the experiences I had, maybe being more um, like I had a lot of experience on different completing different goals and doing different things like that. But maybe just picking something I really want to do. So for physical health, I pick something for movement, and exercise and stretching. So that really helped me move in my body to help get some of the energies uh, of pain, and even just my thought process, my mind process of thinking dread or anything like that. I had to change. And I did a lot of writing. Writing really helped me.
It
Um, I,
does.
I called it shadow journaling, but you can call it what you will, but it'll ask questions to you for a response. I wrote forgiveness letters. I wrote
Wow.
2 years in a row. I wrote about 1 year, it was like 30 forgiveness letters. The next year, 27 forgiveness letters,
Wow.
and burned them. And they were to people, places, and things. And I mean, I was pulling out anything. I said, I didn't I did kind of annoy me. And I was kind of laughing. I was out going along. I said, that irritated me. That irritated me about everything. Get
That's
out.
that was that, and that's powerful. I had to go through a similar situation myself where I had to forgive. I mean, where I would pretend like the person who hurt me, even if I couldn't talk to them. They was right there, and I spoke to them, wrote it down. So those were good therapies. Now, which leads me to my next question: therapy. You know, give me your take and opinion on how important therapy is to people for people.
Therapy can come in so many different ways, whether it's talking to a therapist you got to pay some money to, or therapy is you writing, or therapy, it could be going to the park, sitting in nature, reading a book, finding yourself, connecting with your spirituality, um, your roots, connecting with your ancestors, helping them heal. I mean, it's so important to do that because you are helping others to heal when you heal. And we're all connected in this world. And so, if you heal and you see a person at the store, if you're healed and you see a person at the store and they say good morning to you or have a good day, you're not like, who are you talking to saying good morning to me? Like, you trying to be smart? No, you're saying good morning back, and you also have a great day. You're reflecting off, you're keeping that energy of healed energy, passing the hot potato around of healed energy.
And I like how you said that because that's so important. That's something I want to emphasize to us. One Nation, all the people who are watching. It's important that you share the love, that you share the good spirit of uh, of Yahweh with other people. Letting people feel that because people, you never know, a smile, a hug, a handshake, anything could change the whole trajectory of someone's life because you just smiled at them. Just a simple smile can change where this person was thinking about suicide, thinking about taking herself out or whatever. You don't know what people are dealing with. People are dealing with so much psychological and mental anguish. But you walked up and said, "Good morning. How are you doing today?" And it was like, "Wow, you spoke to me. Good morning too." And it can change the whole trajectory. And so that's why I believe God. It's a shame that people in our family, and not just talking about our family, but families in general, the black families, it's hard for us to treat each other with kindness and love because of slavery and things like that, and how we were affected. You're talking about ancestors, and we didn't know how to be loving. Some of us didn't know how to be loving to each other. Some of us didn't know how to be kind to each other. So loving kindness was not a part of our vocabulary or even our makeup. But had to learn that through strangers. You learned that first through God sending people, but you learned that through people who didn't even know you, and they just took you in and took care of you and fed you and things like that nature. And you didn't run into people hurting you or harming you. That's amazing to me. That's amazing. And that's a story that, I fully couldn't understand or comprehend myself. So I'm glad you come on and explain that to us. So, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk too much, but jump on in. So with that healing and that transition and the forgiveness and therapy, where you tell me where you are mentally. What place are you in mentally right now in your life?
Mentally, I'm in a place where I am um I'm having healthy boundaries. I'm in a place where I am reinforcing my healthy boundaries. Things are like my house is still being built, reinforced. The house is here, but it's being reinforced, so that I can go on this persevere through this journey of life, um, and root it down with the right intentions of you know, loving others, but in a healthy way, being of support to others, but in a healthy way. Um, Mentally, I still volunteer. I volunteer at a food bank, which I enjoy, and um, I occasionally am a foster parent. Mentally, I feel the most stablest I've ever felt in my life,
That's
the
good.
most loved I've ever
Good.
felt. Yep.
And you know what? I can tell too because 20 years ago, um and I can be honest, we didn't have greatest of a relationship. There was actually a time where me and you had not seen or talked to each other in years. And because I myself had to go through a change, and when I get a chance, I'm gonna tell my story whenever I get a chance. But um, I was going through things myself, so I couldn't understand how to help somebody else. It's like blind leading the blind. If you're hurt, how are you going to help somebody else? If you're drowning, how? Because we talked about that before about drowning, how to help somebody else get out when you're drowning yourself.
Right.
But I can definitely see the difference, of where you've grown, you've matured, you're helping other people, you're coming into your purpose, you're coming into your assignment, and being able to talk about it from a safe place and from a healed place. That's the most important thing. You're coming from a healed place. And so you can tell when someone's been through something and they came through it, and now they're able to relate, and right now healing and talking to other people and telling them how to get through there. So I want you to take just a few minutes before we close out. And I just want you to talk to people about healing and encouraging somebody out there might need to hear something. They need to be encouraged, or just speak your heart and take this time.
One thing I could say is no matter how low you may be in your life or feel that you may be in your life, that love and that healing energy is with you. And, wherever you are in the world, that loving energy is with you. And it really doesn't matter about anything else, how bad things look on the outside. When you have that with you, that's hope. That's your key. That's your light. Um, I just also want to say persevere. There's a lot of physical pain or that I had to go through. And everybody might not have to go through physical pain, but there is like me and my brother say, pick up your mat, verse in the Bible,
Yeah,
and keep going. Don't give up. Find resources. Always find resources to help you.
awesome. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me see. And you definitely, finding those resources. I know I would get a little passionate, a little fiery with my attitude or temper whenever, I wanted things to go, my way. But of course, as you get older, you kind of relax that. It is natural to be passionate when you're younger about things. So don't lose focus, and definitely take more time to do things that are going to bring you peace. You may have to cut those phones off, um,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, uh, and connect with the higher power, Yahweh, Jesus, Christ, energy of love, whatever you want to call it. But we all know that's the energy that lights the way, for everybody, that love and kindness, that grace for ourselves. It is, it's a challenge when you haven't completely put on your own face mask and you're saving others. But, within our community, growing up, as a Black woman, African American woman, whatever you want to call it, we learn that, you know, you're choosing which pain is going to be less painful, which road is going to be less painful for you to go through. All of us, everyone out in the world, we all have to really choose the pain that's going to be least painful for ourselves and others. Even with people higher up making policies and different things, uh,
Hmm.
we have to choose a route that's going to be more healthy for everybody. So if you're in a family setting, you have to choose the best path for your whole family, not just
Hmm.
yourself, because you're all a unit.
That's right. Now, last topic is you brought up, and you kind of when it tapped into it as you were talking. I wanted you to talk about your relationship with the Most High, with Yahweh. How is your related? Talk about that. You're just in your own way.
It's more my relationship with the Most High has been a very special one. Um, I ask for things and they're provided, and Some things were not, and then some things were lessons, and some things I know why they were not provided. Um, and even I may have asked for things that are overly challenging for me, and those are the ones that God say, no, no, we're not. You don't. We don't. I don't. I want you to heal. And my intentions may even be really well with certain things. But God may say, no. I want you to heal, and I know that I'm very loved. And so that's why I decided to work on my healthy boundaries, because I want to feel that love. I wanted a space for that love. I wanted to protect that love that I received from the Most High. I want it to continue, so I want to be in the right order to receive it, and to help others receive it the best I can.
Awesome. Well, um, I just want to say, how did you enjoy this interview here? Your story, Simone McDavis story. How did you enjoy it? Did you
I
have a
really
good time?
enjoyed it, especially being with my brother and my sister-in-law. I really appreciate it because it's authentic, and it's definitely a safe space for me.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And since it is your birthday, maybe could we get your cash app? Do you have a cash app?
Yes, it's I think it's $ honeycomb 412.
Okay, you better make sure because you
Hold
don't
on,
want.
let me check.
Yeah. And while she's doing that, we certainly thank all of you for tuning in today. We hope that you enjoyed this special podcast. Today's my sister's birthday. So if you have a special seed in mind, something you would like to give her, some birthday money, something in mind, send her over something. As soon as she gives me her cash up, feel free to give her something for her birthday.
That's it. It's honeycomb, HONEYCOMB 412. That's right.
Awesome. So anybody out there, if you feel led to give something for her birthday, she says she's 41 today, so make her feel special. Send her $41 or whatever you feel in your heart. And so she's gonna go out and enjoy herself. But she got the cat there. What's the cat? Hey cat, what's her name?
Molly.
Molly. That's Molly. Yeah, that's Molly. Hey Molly.
She's
So we
famous.
thank. She's about to be famous. So thank you for coming on today and sharing your story. And just I know it takes a certain level of boldness and courage, and I admire that and I respect that. And just coming on, and you did it respectfully in a classful way, so it wasn't like I didn't feel no animosity, no anger, no I think we lost her. Oh, I didn't feel no rage, no jealousy, no. Oh, did it. You did it in a way, like I said, you did it from a healed place, and I appreciate that so much.
Love
It
you
means
too,
so
sis.
much. Oh yeah,
Sis.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And shout out to my wife. Thank you. My wife's watching. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to her. She's been such a tremendous help and with me with this program here. So yeah, so today's your birthday, March 8th. You enjoy your birthday. I pray God's blessing. I'm gonna say a quick prayer for you. If you don't mind, Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you, God, for my sister, for all the things she's been through in her life. She came on here, she told her story. But I thank you, God, that her latter years will be greater. The greatest days of her life are yet to come. God, I believe that you're going to do great and mighty things. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the things that you have in store for her. And though the devil tried to destroy her and take her out, you have preserved her. And God, I believe she's going to live some good years. She got the best years. Her golden years are coming up, and she's going to live an excellent life, long life. Will you satisfy her and bless her? And I believe, God, that you are going to give her a family. I speak that into her life now, the way that you see fit. Your hand is upon her life. You never left or forsake her. Continue to bless her home, her businesses, her finances, and everything that she puts her hands to. Let it prosper and flourish in Jesus' name.
In Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
And so once again, y'all, here's the Cash App. Up here, her Cash App is $ honeycomb 412. That's $HoneyComb 412. Y'all send some money over her so she can go have a good time today and enjoy her birthday. So happy birthday to you again. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
All right. Love you too. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right.
All right, y'all. Well, we come to another conclusion of One Nation. So we're kind of going back to our original podcast. And but I am me and my wife, First Lady Norfleet, we are starting a new ministry. And hold on, let me take that up, Siri. So I need you to come out and support if you can. You see it on the screen there, 2100 Georgia Highway 54, Suite 110, Peachtree City. Matter of fact, maybe I need to put that on there. I'm gonna put that on there so you can see. That's 2100 Georgia Highway. It's HWY 54. See, I should have had this on here ready. Peachtree City. So all my people that live in Peachtree City in the Georgia area, Peachtree City, Georgia area, y'all come on out and see us. The zip code is 30269. All right. So that's going to be the address. The name of the church is Tabernacle of Faith Atlanta. Tabernacle of Faith Atlanta. 10 a.m. this Sunday is going to be our first inaugural service. Please come on out. I'd love to see you there. We're going to have an excellent time. So thank you so much, and y'all keep us in your prayers. And once again, we love you. First Lady Norfleet loves you, and we'll see you real soon. God bless you. Till next time. Peace.